James. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. James here. Hope you guys are doing good today. Well, I have an interesting. I'm gonna do a part of use of persons one contest create part of documentary. This is light up, but it's gonna be some light humor at the end of this documentary. So I'm not gonna use all of it just for personal use. But this is a topic that need to be talked about between always between black and white. But now you're gonna hear the white version of how some white people feel. And here we go on the channel. And it's gonna be a very insight look. But I'm not gonna play the whole documentary. But I like watching the channel. It's really interesting. There's the scientific and everything behind it. It's educational wise.
Hello and welcome to the channel. We are about to feature a piece called Whitewashed, Unmasking the World of Whiteness. In this, you are going to hear a number of individuals talking about their privilege, about how they feel about other racial groups, about the world of whiteness in general. A number of different people are featured in here. Some of you are familiar with Tim Wise. He is one of the people who's being interviewed. This piece is called Whitewashed. It is quite different than the documentary series we produced called Whited Out. Whited Out is basically talking about how various racial groups have been whited out over time, how original groups such as the Asians who were originally black have been whited out. You have those in Australia who were originally black. They've been whited out. Those in South America and around the world, we have seen a whiting out process. Even with the writing of history, history has been whited out, where historically black people have been portrayed as white in movies, film, television shows, books and publications, and even in what is being taught in the school system. That is what the Whited Out series is about. This Whitewashed is talking about, again, is talking about those who are acknowledging their privilege, those who are telling the truth about how they feel about other racial groups, and just a number of different topics are going to be covered in this piece. So I want you to pay very, very close attention to what is being said, the questions that are being asked, and you're going to see that there is a veil being lifted in the world, right? The veil is being lifted. You no longer can you pull the wool over people's eyes. The truth is just coming forth like a flood. So many people are telling it and speaking it, broadcasting it, showing it. It's time. It is time. Those things that have been hidden for so long are coming to light, right? But with this piece, it is more so an acknowledgement of what is real, what others have been saying for so long. You have some white people who actually want to tell the truth about how they feel. Some of them know that they have privilege, and so they are going to tell you the truth about it here. Some of them don't really care for people of other races, and they are going to say it. And some of them are going to actually acknowledge that things are not fair, right? They're going to acknowledge that they do feel that they have an upper hand and that there are certain privileges with being white. So, without further ado, I want you to sit back and kick your feet up and take a look. Whitewashed, unmasking the world of whiteness.
When kids are fed, futures are nourished.
Not being hungry allows my grandkids to enjoy life.
I don't have any trouble admitting that I'm a racist. I think it's absurd to try to fight with that. I grew up in this society. I was conditioned by it. I think internally in my psyche, I've grounded and rooted those attitudes, and I see it in me all the time.
I don't like being a white man. And that's where I still am and working on it, because I know what I've done, what people like me have done.
Part of being white is just not in any way acknowledging what it means to be white.
I have a
white skin, and that with that white skin comes along a whole mess of privileges that I have, and I don't ask for them, they just are there.
You have started to break the code of silence a little bit when you start talking about white people and you start talking about this stuff, and you find yourself suddenly all alone.
I have Scotch-Irish ancestry with a little bit of German. I'm European, and I came over some 250 years ago.
My ancestors are from England and Germany.
My ancestors are German and Russian and Scottish.
In my father's side, it was Irish, and my mother's side, it was probably English, but I don't know a lot about her side.
I'm French Indian. I guess you'd say I got a little Cajun in me. Ireland.
Did you identify as Irish?
No, not really. I identify as an American. British, Scotch-Irish. Scotch, that's where my ancestors are from, supposedly, but hasn't had any impact on me. Doesn't mean anything.
I think Pilgrims. When I think of where did I come from, I think Pilgrims, but no. But I'm sure somewhere down the line I am.
Because they were Irish, there was a lot of oppression, because they immigrated over from Ireland. So I thought a lot about what that was like for them as Irish people, but I never thought about what it was like for them and when they became white.
Well, you can only be something if there's something else to negate it. So I guess we became white. I guess we're white because there's a bunch of other races to set us off.
So how did English people and German people get turned into white people?
Came to America.
By assimilation, by living. By living in the U.S. It's just the smorgasbord,
I have no idea. I honestly have no idea.
Do you know how they got turned into British and Scottish people? You know how those people got turned into white people?
No.
Have you ever thought about that?
I'm not a history buff. I think culture did that. Over time, it's like certain words that we use in our language are not our words, they're other nations. Other words that come from other languages.
How did the Irish get turned into white people?
That's a good question.
I think a lot of it was early assimilation in the United States, a lot of European ethnics coming over, assimilating for a variety of reasons. Primary one being a desire to elevate their socioeconomic status. So to get jobs, to find places to live, a lot of the Europeans altered their last names to sound more mainstream. A lot of them changed the clothing that they wore, the foods they ate. So there's some might call it assimilation. I think of it more as Anglo-conformity, conforming to this kind of dominant white culture.
But the reality is that those persons who are white and who are considered white and treated as such in the society, by virtue of being white and treated that way, have had to give up who they really were. If they were Russian American, my father's side of the family, grandfather's side, great-grandfather came here from Russia in 1910. He had to give up what it meant to be a Jew, a Russian Jew from Eastern Europe, to become an American, which really meant to become white. The Irish had to do the same thing. The Italians had to do the same thing. The Greeks had to do the same thing. All these European ethnics who were not white Anglo-Saxon Protestants had to give up their actual identities for the sake of whiteness.
I really didn't think about being white, I'd say, growing up, because mainly, I think because I was part of the majority and I maybe wasn't forced to think about it.
I don't think it means anything. It's just, some people might think it means better, but to me it doesn't mean anything but just the color of my skin, really.
How often do you think about being white?
Not very often. I really don't think about it a lot at all.
Hardly ever. It's just me.
Racially, do you see yourself as a white person?
No, I see myself as a person.
So do you ever think about being a white person?
No.
Probably not very often.
Not really. Sometimes I got a lot of black friends. Sometimes we make jokes about it and everything, but
not really. It doesn't matter to me whether I'm white, pink, or purple, or black. I don't care.
Depends on the social situation. Sometimes I'll be the only white person in the room when it's reversed, when the tables are sort of flipped.
How do you identify racially? Do you see yourself as a white man?
I think that everybody is equal in the eyes of the Lord.
So you don't see yourself as a white person?
Not as much as most people. I think when it's all said and done, we're equal, and definitely inside and outside.
But I don't know if I ever considered myself white or thought about it. At one point I'm sure I did, but I don't really have any recollection of when it was, which I think is a total reflection of whiteness, of never having to sort of contemplate why people treat you the way that they do.
To be white means to be a member of a dominant racial group in a society that I consider white supremacist. And to be white in a white supremacist society, not just a racist society, because that's almost too generic. To be white in a white supremacist society is to be able to have the luxury of oblivion, to be oblivious to the injustices, to be oblivious to racial privilege, to be oblivious, frankly, to one's own identity. So it is, in a sense, to be invisible to oneself.
Well, I think to be white in this culture means to deny the reality of racism. And it means to deny the privilege that we have as whites. Most people who are whites don't want to accept that they are privileged because they are. People don't want to talk about being white because they know that at a deep level, even though they haven't even, some of them may not have ever talked about it with anybody or ever expressed it, they do know that they get a benefit from being white.
If you're white in this country, there's certain advantages that come your way, and it doesn't really matter whether you want to or not, or whether you're in touch with it or not.
Now I know there are privileges that I enjoy simply because I'm white. Every minute of my life, I'm aware of my white privilege, of the fact that I have a white skin, and that with that white skin comes along a whole mess of privileges that I have, and I don't ask for them, they just are there.
There are things that come to me, that belong to me, that I'm given and that I expect just because I'm white, that I never wonder about, ask about, discuss. And that's the power of it, is that the privilege of expecting that I'm going to go to good schools and that I'm going to have choices, no matter what, that there will always be a choice that will be probably
pretty reasonable, that will work out pretty well for me.
To me, it's about privilege. A lot of people get to walk around thinking that we live in a meritocracy and thinking that their own hard work is the only thing that's, responsible for their achievements. I think that it means, it has, and I think that it shapes everything.
White privilege is probably the freedom to move through the world fearlessly in a way that black people cannot move through the world. That you can take advantage of opportunities with much less fear and an assumption that you'll be treated equally with all other white people.
Part of it is not having to even think about it. And so in a way, it's sort of like the privilege of having that space in your mind free to think about other things and be concerned about other things. So it's not even having to think about race is part of the privilege.
White privilege is being able to walk into a department store and not be followed by the detective. A friend of mine who's Asian American, she was very unfairly treated at a department store. She was at a cosmetics counter, and she had bought something and it came with a free gift. So the woman at the counter put the free gift in the bag, and my friend didn't know that the free gift had already been put in the bag, so she had grabbed the one on the counter and put it in the bag unknowingly. Just as the sweetest woman, wouldn't hurt a fly. And they called the cops on her, and she was taken to jail and arrested. I put myself in the same position that she was at, and I know there's no way I would have been arrested. I know I would not have been arrested.
It's the assumption that when you go to buy a car that you're going to have the money. Well, it's the assumption that when you go into a real estate office looking for a place to rent, unless you wear raggedy clothes, it's that you're going to want to go into this nice neighborhood.
You basically get to say what you want to, be any way you want to. You get privilege. You don't have to work as hard. You can slack off in jobs and still get promoted and still not have to worry about somebody coming after you. So whiteness to me is about privilege and access to information systems and people and power that you didn't earn.
I went through a time where I was poor and I had to take care of my father, and I worked with about 100 African American men, and I was the only white male on the shop floor, and I was really horrible at this job. It was a metal grinder. I'd grind too much of it. I'd make big indentations. I was constantly messing up, and I was sure I was going to get fired. It was just a matter of time. And about 6 months into the job, the boss and a few of the managers come over. They're all white men, and I thought, this is it. This is the day I'm getting fired. And they came over and told me that they've had their eye on me and they think that I'm management material. I said, what? Yeah. And they said, yeah, you stick around for a while and we think you've got potential to be a manager here.
It's all embedded in every piece of our country. It's embedded in every structure that we have. It's embedded in our economics. It's embedded everywhere.
When I walk into a bank, or when I walk into anybody's neighborhood, or when I walk into anybody's store, that I'm acceptable, that I can go anywhere I want, and I am seen as an acceptable person. And the reason I am acceptable is because I'm white.
I remember when I was going to get my driver's license renewed for the first time. I really couldn't see very much without glasses. I didn't have any glasses with me. They had you go to one of these machines you look in and see like what letter it is and etc. I couldn't see any of it. I was one of the few white people there, and the guy behind the desk was this older white guy, and he just said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Go ahead." I was like, "Is he just letting everybody through?" And I saw that he wasn't, and I kind of was like, "Oh, okay."
It's the ability to walk into the bank in Savannah when we were ready to build our house and borrow $100,000, and neither one of us were working. I mean, that to me, that is just so incredible that we could do that. I mean, of course we had to present, we had to give them facts and figures and all of that kind of thing. But, if you were a person of color and you walked in and you said, well, we're neither working and they're going to lend you $100,000, I don't think so.
Oh, simple things. I mean, from everything from the ease of getting a bank loan to knowing that I can drive just about anywhere in the city and not get stopped because of my color by the police.
When I drive down the road and I get pulled over by a police officer, it's probably because either I've broken the law or I'm getting a flat tire and the police officer's going to tell me I'm getting a flat tire.
Well, when I get pulled over, I don't get tickets, I'm a white woman, middle class, in a minivan. I get pulled over all the time for speeding. And it's almost become a joke. And then, the police officers apologized to me for pulling me over, and I know if I was a person of color, that wouldn't happen, I know that I would be pulled over a lot more if I was a person of color because I speed every day. And so I get stopped, they look at my license, and then they let me go,
I've experienced whiteness on the 3 occasions that I've been pulled over by law enforcement driving a car. One time I ran a red light. Turning red, right? Another time I was speeding, another time I had a headlight out. And every single time I got off with a warning. I never got a ticket for any of those things. It was privilege and whiteness therefore that helped get me off. And I think for the average person it would be whiteness that would allow me not to even have to think about why. I could get away in thinking, I sweet talked my way out of that. I did, but I was aided by the fact that I'm white.
They're not gonna do a body check on me. They're not gonna rip my car apart looking for a reason to haul me in. I'm not profiled. That's white privilege.
Basically, when I go to city council or county commission, I expect my representatives to take me seriously, and they do for the most part, because they know that they have to be more accountable to the white community, because the white community has more power and money and can vote them out of office.
We as white people have a sense of what our rights are, that we have the right to, live well, live safely, have health care and police that respond to us, have city officials that pay attention to us, have, the needs of our community, be able to have those met. And I think that if you talk to people of color or look at communities of color, that does not exist for people. That idea of those rights.
The more I know, the more it's like, I've really got to talk about privilege here. Even though, I faced a lot of shit in my life. I really had all this stuff happen, but I still had whiteness in a way that's given me all this stuff.
And it's all these things which not only give you privilege in the sense of stuff and access to stuff, but also it validates who you are. So you have this feeling that I'm important, I'm worthwhile, that other people don't have. They have to get it somewhere else. They might get it from their family or what have you, but I'm going to get it from everyone, with few exceptions.
I was taught that you respected black folk, but not really as human beings, more like cats and dogs and cows. You wouldn't mistreat a cat or a dog in my family, and you wouldn't mistreat a black person.
I don't have any trouble admitting that I'm a racist. I think it's absurd to try to fight with that. I grew up in this society. I was conditioned by it. I think internally in my psyche, I have grounded and rooted those attitudes, and I see it in me all the time. I'm always dealing with it. I don't think that makes me a bad person. I don't think that means that I'm grounded in original sin or anything. It just means I've been well indoctrinated. But it does also call me to do something about it.
I consider myself somebody who does racist things and acts on the racism I have within me because of the context of the world in which I grew up and live in.
For me, individually, is to recognize and acknowledge that I I have the power of race in me, and that I'm going to be. I don't believe I'll ever have a time when I look at anybody and don't see their racial classification first.
Oh, I hate to admit it, but I still have thoughts that I'm smarter than some black people just because of skin color. I mean, I'm sorry, but that still crosses my mind.
Stereotypes will pop in my head just like everybody else, you know. When I see somebody, a stereotype will pop up, and then I have to say, no, you know, that's a prejudice.
When I'm in a classroom of students, I'll tend to look at the white students more than I'll look at the black students, and when I realized I was doing that, I was shocked. And I tried immediately to begin to train myself to stop doing that, and it was astonishingly difficult. There was something about a natural tendency to look at white faces in a way that I did not have the same natural tendency to look at black faces. And I think that's a kind of an ingrained, inborn racism, is all I can think of it as.
I remember I was talking with a young man named Sylvester, and he was saying, "You're racist." And I'm going, "I'm not." He's going, "You are." "I'm not." You know, we went back and forth like that for a while. And then I had to go get refreshments. I said, "Hold on." And I went upstairs, and my mother turned to me, and she said, "Get a grip on yourself. You know, you're a white young girl. You've grown up in the racist society. You're racist. Deal with it. Move on." But that was, you know, that was an amazing gift that my mother gave me, because it allowed me to turn all of my defensiveness about it into, oh, well, maybe I am.
Racism and prejudice are very different things. And all of us have grown up with prejudices. Some of us have prejudice against people of color, some people have prejudice against white people, and some of us are downright awful about it.
Because so much of the focus is on personal prejudices. That's how I think a large part of the U.S. population analyzes race matters, is between different groups of people.
Well, I think it works the same way. If black people feel that white people can be racist towards them, I don't see any difference between a black person being racist towards a white person.
In high school, the high school I attended was probably 60% black, 40% white, and being white and in a majority black class, I was picked on and teased for that. So
sometimes you come across people that feel because of what happened in the past that we're held responsible. I'm 30 years old. I wasn't around when that was happening.
I know what it feels like to be subjected to anger for something that I personally never did.
If we're in the wrong place sometimes, and it's obvious that we're in the wrong place, we're the wrong color to be in that place, you'll hear a comment. You'll hear some things that's not so nice that you would never think that you would hear.
Like what?
You're a little too white to be in this neighborhood.
When I was teaching, I was not privileged because I had to interact with a lot of stereotypes about white people, and I had to deal with them on that level, but I was privileged in the sense that I got the job in the first place.
I think that one of the key things to understand about racism is, like Malcolm X said, racism is like a Cadillac. There's a new model every year, and it's racism is a dynamic social construction, so it's always changing, it's always mutating.
Right.
So people that say, well, there's no racism anymore, they're referring to racism as it existed in 1950 or 1920 or 1910.
Racism permeates every aspect of our society, and it's made a world that we live in that's very unequal.
It isn't what you personally did or did not do. And I think that's such a hard leap for white people to make. Is it isn't something that I personally did, but it's something I personally have to work against.
It ain't just a matter of who I am as a person or what I think or feel about other people.
I think there's a hierarchy in our country that's based very clearly on skin color and on people's perceptions of what race you're in. And white are at the top and black are at the bottom, and Asian and Native American and people of sort of light brown hue are in the middle, and Latinos are down, and then blacks are at the bottom.
Racism is not simply about how we get along on an individual level, but it has to do with who has institutional and social power.
White people have the political and social power in our society, and that is a given. And if you look at if you pick apart social and political situations, you can see that very clearly. I think it's quite obvious.
Whites get privilege and experience the advantage of being in a system that thinks white is better than folk of color, and so there's all this unearned advantage that's going on all the time.
Particularly in a society like the United States, it's hard to confront racism unless you understand how, if you're racialized as white, you benefit from racism.
Just because I am white and have these privileges, I participate in a racist system. And that doesn't make that, it's not my fault. I can't help it. I'm born to it. And, and that's what being white means.
But I do think and assume that white privilege is, in fact, the kind of racism that you can't avoid.
All I gotta do is sit down and close my eyes, and things are gonna just move forward, sort of in white interests. And there's a way in which I'm complicit. I collude. I don't say anything. I don't do anything to stop it or challenge it. And in that way, I really do think that's how racism works, and that's a way in which I'm racist. And the difference now is that I don't try and prove to anyone else or even to myself that I'm not racist. I sort of assume that, know that, and get on with doing anti-racist work as best I can.
I believe that the very depth of understanding racism is understanding that process of us becoming white, historically us becoming white, and exactly what does that mean to be white, and how much of our humanity that we've lost. Because I think that the only way that whites can truly regain our humanity that's lost to the degree at which we've bought into white is through doing anti-racism work in anything that we do.
I'm going to stop it right here. It's what I've been wanting to tell people a long time. I made a video of it. This is just confirmation. Thank you, Jesus. Because some people don't believe it till this is, oh shit. This is the other side of America that some people do not like to talk about. They don't like to talk about stuff like this. So, but anything on a lighter version, it go one of these people I treat like one of the white guys that use it. He just keep it real. Dixon.
The thing I want to say about this Montgomery, Alabama brawl down there on the riverboat brawl is that I'm just very worried and very concerned for Jason Aldean and all his fans and followers and what they going through emotionally right now when they see black people beat up some racists. I mean, it must be hard. It's got to be hard for them to see that. Those poor redneck motherfuckers, man. I know it's hard. Y'all to watch that happen. It ain't supposed to go like that. Racists ain't supposed to get instant karma. No. Don't try it in a small town, Jason Aldean said. He was warning black people, don't try justice here. Don't protest for your rights here. And then to see them 4 or 5, 6, 7, whatever the hell, many racists down there just get the fuck beat out of hit an old white lady hitting the head with a chair. Oh my God, can you imagine? I'm just worried about Jason Aldean and all his fans, what they must be feeling right now. Can you imagine how Ron DeSantis must feel when he saw this shit? Why y'all think he had that Stop Woke Act? The Stop Woke is to stop black people from being united, stop white and black people from being unified for justice racially. He is trying to stop racial justice in its tracks, and then this fucking Montgomery brawl happens. What the fuck is Ron DeSantis gonna do now? His poll numbers is down. I mean, it must be hard for these fucking racists out here in America. God knows what Trump is doing. I'm worried about him, y'all. It must be a real hard time. And I just heard that Ron DeSantis now, he's going to ban the folding chairs in Florida. And they hit that poor white lady in the head with a chair. I mean, they hit a woman, y'all. That's right. They hit a woman who was trying to defend her racist husband. So she deserved it. She literally deserved it. I'm sorry. She deserved it. And it was hard to watch, all that violence. And the main reason it's hard to watch because it's so fucking funny. You laugh at hard, it hurts. But no, seriously, I was really happy as a white guy to see racists being held accountable, to see an innocent black man attacked by 4 or 5 white guys, and then that fucking instant karma. It was a beautiful day, a historic day. And most importantly, not only just the accountability part, to see racists instantly get karma. That was the first beautiful thing. The other beautiful thing was to see black people in unity fighting for the same cause, a just cause. You know, Montgomery used to be the Confederate capital for a short time, and now it's the capital of Alabama, and it's where Martin Luther King lived. It's where, you know, Rosa Parks took a stand. It's where Martin Luther King led a 5-day march from Selma, Alabama, 50-something miles all the way to Montgomery, and delivered his famous speech there on Montgomery Capitol. I mean, a lot of history there. And then you have this happen. It's a beautiful thing to see. So all the black people that were there that helped out, and the one little white boy who sort of tried, everybody that helped out against these racists. And I honestly believe, and you know, if they can prove that it's a hate crime, they should be charged for hate crime. Because, you know, it's what it looked like to me. I mean, I don't know, I didn't hear the words or, you know, what happened, but it looked like a hate crime to me. So I honestly hope they throw the book at these guys that attacked that black gentleman. But it's a beautiful day, 8/5/23, an historical day for America.
Did I tell you I'm going to get the 995 plan? The 995 plan? What's that?
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all been asking me to say something about what happened down there in Montgomery, Alabama. So here I go. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody want to tell me just what in the fist and feet flying foolery is going on down there in Montgomery, Alabama? Yes, Lord. I can tell you what happened. I know exactly what it was, because I saw it from the beginning. Okay, I've seen the videos, people said it's just not just a fight. It was something that happened in the beginning. Okay, what happened was entitlement. That's what we got. We got entitlement. All right, and why do I say that? There was a group of people.
Sorry about that.
Who felt like they were above the rules, that they were above the standard, and they did not have to abide by the rules that, you know, were set in place at this, you know, boating place, whatever, okay? So they parked their boat in a section of the docks where they were told not to park the boat. Don't leave the boat here. Don't do that. But because they're entitled and they don't feel like the rules apply to them, they said, hey, we're going to park this boat where we want to. Even though you told us not to, we going to do what we want to do because we are us. And you ain't us, so you don't get to tell us what to do. You understand? But the security guard, the man who actually worked at the place, who is in charge of making sure people obey the rules of the establishment, came and said, hey, I already told y'all not to put the boat here. You put the boat here, so I'm going to go ahead and take it upon myself to push your boat because your boat's on the water. Let me push your boat out the way. Now, granted, I'm sure they got reasons and rules of why they put this in place to say don't put your boat here. Because, you know, hey, somebody could get hurt, you know, whatever. I don't know. They have their own. Nonetheless, just respect the rules, appreciate what it is the people trying to tell you. They felt some kind of way. There was a verbal altercation with the security guard, the person who is employed by the establishment. There was the verbal exchange back and forth. Hey, you don't tell us what to do. We do what we want to do, and you do what you can, but you don't tell us what to do. And of course, there was some pushback by the security guard. He said, hey, listen, all right, these ain't my rules. These are the rules of the establishment. Now, I'm just telling you, this is what you can't put the boat here. Okay? So, somebody of a certain group, of the opposing group, the group of people that didn't want to abide by the rules, took it upon himself to put his hands on the security guard. And this is where it got interesting. The security man threw up a signal. At the time, we didn't know it was a signal. I never knew that this was a signal. This man took his hat off after being struck, after being assaulted. He took his hat off, threw it up in the air. Who knew that this was the black back signal? Nobody knew this. Nobody. I did not. This is something new to all of us. Who knew that a hat going up in the air was new? We didn't know that. We had no idea. That man threw that hat up in the air. Next thing you know, people were coming from land and sea. And when I say people, I'm talking about people from his community, my community, our community, in good old Montgomery, Alabama. And the special thing about it is Montgomery, Alabama is a place where a lot of justice has not been served. You know what I mean? Because it has a particular history. I've been to Montgomery, Alabama. I've been to Selma, Alabama. You understand what I'm saying? I've been to Birmingham, Alabama. You know what I mean? So there's you know, it has a stigma. It has a history. All right? But in this particular case, justice was well served and it was ice damn cold. I ain't never seen nobody, I mean the tide turned. It's funny they was on the water because the tide surely shifted to the favor of the man who worked for the establishment. No questions asked. You understand what I'm saying? Next thing you know, all type of his folk started coming down. They was running down, helping him out, because next thing you know, they tried to jump the security guard. Them people came out and said, "Oh, no, the hell you ain't. Oh, no, the hell you ain't." And ain't nothing better than the community sticking together. That's right. So much so that a brother hopped in the water and swam, Jesus. Swam in the water. You know black folk can't swim. Swam in the water to help this man, saying, "No, we all got to abide by the rules, and damn it, you gonna abide by these rules too. Come hell or high water." Man, it was all types of melee going on, ups and downs. People's getting tossed in the water. Next thing you know, somebody got a chair from somewhere. I'm talking about, it sounds like I'm talking about WrestleMania, but I'm not. Somebody got a chair. A chair. And we, in our community, in the black community, we like to say, people say, or do something stupid, we say, have several seats. Have several seats. You understand? I don't know if that man was saying have a seat, but he gave people a seat. People was getting their ass sat down. They wasn't sitting in the seat, but they was sitting down after they got the seat. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be people putting plastic out of their damn head for months on end. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The bottom line is follow the rules. You understand? And I have to give a shout out to a gentleman who released a song not too long ago called Jason Aldean, country singer. And everybody was all up in arms because he said, "Hey, we stick together down here in small towns. Don't try it in a small town." And there was a line about them saying, you know, somebody disrespected a police officer. Now, I know this man who worked at this boating place wasn't a police officer. He was a security guard, but he was a man of an authority of that particular establishment. And these other people decided that they wanted to disrespect this man. He had authority in keeping all of the rules and regulations in place, and people should abide by them. Man, they decided to disrespect this man, and they got exactly what Jason Aldean was talking about. They tried it in a small town, and like he said, Jason Aldean said in the song, we stick together. And that's what happened. They were sticking together. They were sticking together. It's not about black or white. It ain't about boats and yachts. It's all about wrong and right. And rights and lefts. And uppercuts and hooks. And a chair. A chair is still a chair, even though no one is sitting there. And if you ain't careful, you will find a chair in your hair. That's all it's about. Y'all be good. Be blessed.
Lancome Tawny Doll Ultra Wear. In long wear, nothing compares. I love it because it gives me the full coverage I want, but now it has advanced airwear technology, so it's much thinner, my skin can breathe, but it lasts all day.
First of all, forgive me for sounding this happy watching women getting beaten for the consequences of their own actions. Welcome back to my channel. So we all know about the trending video of the boat fight in Alabama yesterday. Saturday. I did a video of people reacting to this incident yesterday. Yeah, check my videos. Surprisingly, there was only one clip of a white man reacting to this. Well, guess what? Today I found more videos, and I'm gonna be sharing this with you guys. Make sure you watch the videos up to the end. I did this for you guys, and please leave your own thoughts in the comment section below. I will give my own 2 cents at the end of this video. Let's get into it.
So, as a white woman, obviously I need to weigh in on the Alabama brawl situation, and here is my take on this situation. I would like all marginalized communities to know that I come with a chair, and if you ever need my chair for defense of any type, just ask. I can move out of it and sit somewhere else. This thing is heavy, it rolls fast, and if you throw it at someone, it'll do serious damage, okay? Alright, wait. It also has canes in the back, so we've got options. We've got options with my chair. You see me? You need the stuff? Just ask.
I live down the road from that Montgomery fight, and I keep seeing white people online talking about we need to come together and we can't let this kind of thing happen. I don't know who the fuck we is. I'm not about to get my ass kicked for you.
What happened in Montgomery, Alabama was absolutely hilarious. Oh, y'all really let Jason Aldean gas your heads up, huh? That was your first mistake. You don't take fighting tips from a fake cowboy who wears bedazzled skinny jeans. I love to see it. You know those idiots were on the boat all day listening to that song on repeat. I can't wait, Bubba, till they try that in a small town. We'll show them. I've never seen a song taken away from a group of people so quickly in my life. You had a month. You had a good run. Oh, and I already know what the comments are gonna say in this video. How could you celebrate violence? Both sides were wrong. You're causing a divide. Why can't we all just get along? Do you know why there's so much glee and happiness and celebration after this brawl? Because the scenario never ends this way. And we've seen that one too many times, where a group of angry white men go to attack an innocent black man. And in this case, an innocent black man who was just trying to do his fucking job. This isn't how the story usually ends, and that deserves to be celebrated. So you think about that before you say some shit like that, and understand why people are happy and people are celebrating. So, Mr. Aldean, it's time to whip out your notebook and pencil and write a new anthem. Anyways, bye!
I don't know why everybody wants me to talk about this Alabama brawl. Honey, is it because I am an Alabamian, or is it because I own a watercraft myself? Here's the deal. Y'all got what y'all deserve. Did you really think you was gonna put your hands on somebody that was out there doing their damn job, not just to keep you safe, but to keep everybody safe at that dock? Here's the problem: people get out there and start drinking out there on the water and come back and they done got big and bad. All right, but you met the wrong one that day, honey. You met the wrong one that day because there was people in places that needed to be put, and they got put in their place. You get up in my face, I can't guarantee what's gonna happen to you neither. Now I don't condone violence, but that right there. Y'all got a show put on y'all, and that's y'all's damn fault. Don't get up in nobody's damn face acting like you gonna tell somebody what you gonna do on his damn dock. All right, that's what's wrong with y'all. Y'all get out there in the water and you act crazy, and come back and got that wet. Did y'all see that one man's Crocs? Lord, it looked like his Crocs got his ass whipped. Oh well.
So I've been asked multiple times today what I think about the Alabama riverboat brawl, the Montgomery motorboating massacre, the pontoon around and find out, the riverfront battle royale. This is what I have to say about it. And I know Montgomery ain't a small town, but you know all them white dudes were playing that song. Hell, they were probably playing that song on their JBL Bluetooth speaker as they pulled into the dock. draw that in a small town. We respect people around here, except for when they asked me to move my bass buggy. This is my bass buggy. I got it at the Bass Pro Shop down in Prattville. It's only $3.25 a month for 15 years. And the party of we respect people around here, law and order, will fucking throw hands and sucker punches and flying knees just because they were asked to move their pontoon. All you had to do was move the damn pontoon. The riverboat was coming no matter what. Now look at you, looking all dumb in front of Jesus and everybody on the internet, getting arrested in your Costas and Old Navy swimming trunks. That security guard just trying to do his damn job. But then you want to throw it, you just move the damn pontoon. Boy, that security guard threw his head up like Bobby Shmurda and get up out my trap house. But then all them dudes are jumping on the security guard because, you know, you can't just have one cul-de-sac redneck take on somebody. But then I saw the dude swimming. I like that dude. That dude is awesome. He's like, hell no, I might be tired as motherfucker when I get there, but I'm doing my damn part. And then that one white lady got threw into the damn water like the Goonies on the one-eye wheelie ship. The shit was awesome. But then that one dude that hit the guy with the chair, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then he hit that one woman. I was like, oh. But at first I was like, wait, was that a woman? Because, you know, I wasn't sure. You know, I had to go back and watch. I'm not trying to be mean because the woman was kind of built like Mick Foley, and I had seen Mick Foley take a lot of chair shots. But once I realized it was a woman, I was like, oh, come on now, that's too far. Fight over. It was good while it lasted, and they even damn Affliction Sure Avengers deserved everything they got. Roll Tide.
Montgomery, Alabama, boat brawl. Yes, sir. I love it. I'm just glad nobody got shot. But that white dude was wrong, but trying to hit that damn older black dude. Well, you can't be from around here. You ain't even from the area. You ain't from Millbrook, Prattville, Wetumpka, none of that. You can't be from close around here. Swing on an older dude and an older black dude in Montgomery, the Gump, because you stupid as fuck. You got everything you deserve. And to all them older white folks, it was not the black folks starting this shit. That white dude started that shit, and then black folks ended that shit. Give a damn how you look at it, how mad you get. Them folks didn't start that shit. Them folks put a full-on ass whooping on them white folks. And that dude with the steel chair, I fuck with you. I know you watched wrestling growing up. And then he hit that white lady, and I heard somebody in the background, I think they said, and that was for slavery. Yes, sir. Hey, I bet you don't go back over there doing that dumb shit. Hell to the no, you know them boys in Montgomery do not play, they do not fuck around. I'm just glad it was just a fight and it wasn't no damn shoot, cause usually them young bucks over there would chop your ass down. Broad daylight. Don't give a damn who's around. You got lucky. You're supposed to be catfish bait. So y'all don't be trying to shut shit down downtown Montgomery now, cause thinking folks man, it was the white folks. The white folks started this. The white folks did that now and they got their ass whooped. Can't get mad about it. Hey. They started it, but them goddamn black folk put an ass whooping on them motherfucker, boy. That dude that swam that goddamn river to get over there, I think that was him in the end. That motherfucker was swinging so goddamn fast, boy. He was tattooing that motherfucker on that ground. So, ooh, that young buck, get it, young buck, get it, goddamn it. Them motherfucker will fight, boy. That shit was too funny. Don't take your ass back over there on that dumb shit, stupid ass, boy.
So I've been asked my thoughts on the Alabama Riverboat fight, the Alabama Riverboat Massacre, the Chocolate Thunder from Down Under. So basically, if you haven't seen the video, go to Twitter and watch multiple videos because you have to watch this from multiple different angles because there's so much going on. One black security guard went and asked a group of white dudes to move their pontoon so a big boat could come in and let the passengers off. Well, they took high offense to that and started whooping the absolute piss out of this dude. And I mean, they're giving this dude the business. And if I recall, there was one guy trying to help him out, but he was getting the business too. And that's all it was just asking them to move their boat. It was after a Trump rally, these guys were drunk, and they weren't having any of it. It started out with like 4 of them, and then one dude comes off the stairs with like a flying knee and hits the security guard with it, and here comes 3 or 4. It was like 9 on 1. But all of a sudden, out in the distance, you see one guy jump off a boat and start swimming towards the dock. Once he gets up on the dock, there's quite a few others that come and follow him. It's like, all right, we ain't gonna let this stand. And they go over to the boat that the guys are on, man, they lit these dudes up. And I guess the dudes that were getting lit up's girlfriends started coming off everywhere trying to fight too, which was a terrible idea. It went from 9-on-1 to like 45-on-12. They got the piss beat out of them, son. They were throwing girls in the water after they got whooped on, and they were just beating me piss. There was guys jumping in the water to get away from them. The greatest part of the whole thing was the older fella who picked up the folding chair like WWE, started running after people, and everybody was getting the business, son. It didn't matter who he was smacking folks with his chair. And one lady got knocked out, just kind of sitting there dazed. He come up and just crushed her, son. I haven't seen a better swing since Ken Griffey Jr. was playing. Cops were watching. They were basically worthless, but, you know, they're supposed to be stopping the fight, but they understood that it was not a fair fight. That dude got treated pretty bad, and they just let it rock and roll until that poor lady got hit with the chair, and then it was over with. I mean, they had to do something or they probably would have got fired. What was really upsetting was that there wasn't one white person that jumped in to help that poor dude. There wasn't one dude there that jumped in to stop all the other white guys from whooping the shit out of them. I don't care what color you are. If you see somebody getting beat up on unfairly for no reason and you don't do something, you're just as equally guilty. It may hurt.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, earn up to 90 undergraduate credits for relevant.
I'm gonna leave it right here. He's absolutely right. You know, you just, hey, you know, being jumped and everything. So hey, they got what they deserve, man. Hey, you went down there, but I had to point it short from the other side. Let them do the talking on this discussion, so you can see how people really, good and bad, and everything between, how they feel about situations like this. And so I didn't want to make it one versus the other, but you had to see how people really are and where their mind is at today. But yeah, I hope everything's all right. And then I heard from the lady, you know, the one black lady that kind of pushed the white lady into the reason why they fired her, and they fired because, you know, for her for some reason, and it seemed like the people who owned the boat was running didn't even care about what happened to their own staff. And that's what she had the right to be mad about that. She spoke on that last night. And I said, that's crazy. And here was these people, they started the stuff. So hey, everybody agree, you started it. You know, your stupid alcohol, drunkenness, entitlement that got your butt whooped. And hey, it is what it is. And like I said, and they talking about going down there with a vengeance. I wouldn't do that. You know, I would suggest that. Everything's hyped up, and you go down there and start some stuff with them down in Montgomery. Being from Selma, everything's hot right now. So if I was them rednecks, you better chill out. You know, just suck it up and take your loss. It is what it is, and you were in the wrong. Basically, you were in the wrong. Everybody, black and white, agree. You were in the wrong. You should have did what you did. And it's the reason why, because their rednecks were taught that you don't have to, because they probably came from that kind of upbringing. You don't have to listen to a black person. You know, they're not even human. So that's what they took on, that mindset. And so it is what it is. So they found out they were human, and they found they otherwise. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and share it. Till next time I see you on the next video. And let it be less to be learned. Listen to orders, no matter who is giving the orders. When someone says something, listen to them. It'll be for your benefit, no matter if you're here or anywhere in part of the world. Respect people and respect the working person. Don't just belittle them regardless, because they got a job to do. You know, because at the end of the day, they're a person just like you. And that's the whole point of this video. But I had to show the true meaning of behind this, because some people, they don't think, and they don't see the consequences. So now they see the consequences. Now they're being charged. And the one guy who owned the business probably go get some blowback. Should think. All right then. Till next time, take care.